Well, there's not a division that's unusual. It's very common in Republican nominating contests to have different candidates emerge at different point. There's been one consistent thing, and that's Mitt Romney has always been the contender or the winner. And so it demonstrates his strength. But traditionally in Republican nominating contests, we always have split decisions between Iowa and New Hampshire. So that's nothing new. It's practically over now. It's Mitt Romney. He's going to be the nominee. He probably was always on track to do that unless one of his challengers really got a lot of momentum in an organized campaign. So it's definitely Mitt Romney. It's the person who's articulating the answers to the challenges our country faces right now, which is needing a stronger America and someone who's focused on the economy instead of big government spending. He's been less supported by the Tea Party, but the fact is that the Tea Party and Mitt Romney have something in common, and that is opposition to Obama's reckless spending policies. They will not necessarily be the best of friends, but they will be allies in a common cause, which is to repeal a lot of the Obama big government spending programs. So they're going to work together. They won't always be happy allies, but they'll be friends nonetheless. If you actually look at the polls right now, that's already occurred. Romney has a lot of support amongst independents. The nature of the American political structure right now tends to have a polarized world where you have very few Democrats crossing over to Republicans and Republicans crossing over to Democrats. What Obama has as a problem right now, and that's Romney's opportunity, is that there's a lot of independents who are incredibly dissatisfied and distraught with the president's policies, specifically his economic policies and his spending priorities. So when you look at that, Romney already has a clear base of support that we have what's making it to be a very close election already. Obama's strongest point actually is that that he's the incumbent president, and Americans of all stripes want our president to succeed. It's a very American thing, and it was true about Democrats for George W. Bush in his early years, even though the 2000 election was very controversial. It was true for Clinton and our presidents beforehand. We want our president to succeed, and so the American people root for America, and the president is in some ways the personification of our country. So there's a lot of rooting for the country, and Obama's president's going to receive some of that. That, and Obama has shown that he's continued some of the George Bush policies internationally, the war on terror. That's rebounded to Obama's benefit. And the other thing that Republicans can overlook at their peril is that Obama is generally liked as a person. His policies are deeply disliked in the middle of the electorate, but they don't dislike him as an individual. And it's important in all of our debates that we remember that we can like our opponents even when they're fundamentally wrong. Romney's strongest point is that he has a combination of skill sets that fit what the American public wants right now. And that is, he's got a proven ability to manage business in the private sector, reduce the size of government. He's been a governor. And unlike President Obama, Mitt Romney has actually worked with an opposition that controlled the powers of government. He's understood that you have to work together for a common goal. As governor of Massachusetts, he worked with a legislature that was overwhelmingly Democrat. He had to work to get things done. So he actually has the experience and the toolkit to do what Obama said he would in 2008, which is try and forge a larger consensus.
Probably he compromised with the Republicans towards the end of the last Congress to extend the Bush tax cuts, not just for middle-class families, but for wealthy families as well. And I think there were a lot of progressive Democrats who weren't so happy about that. You know, you always want to be a little bit careful of what you wish for, but I think a lot of Democrats would love to run against Newt Gingrich.
Okay.
He's been around on the political scene for a long time and can be rather explosive when it comes to rhetoric. He's certainly very smart, but there's a lot to work with there, and I think the polls have shown that he would be the weakest of the likely Republican candidates against Obama. You know, I think Obama's message, regardless of who the opponent is that we've been through a tough time, but we're seeing sort of slow and steady improvement in the economy. Today we just saw the unemployment rate has gone down for the 5th straight month in a row. It's now at its lowest point in 3 years. And I think that the message is that we're making progress slowly but surely, getting back to where we were before the economic crisis of 2008. See, probably not as many legislative accomplishments as we had in the first term, because it's quite likely that either one or both houses of Congress will be controlled by the Republicans, which is the situation we're in now, which is sort of leading to a lot of gridlock. But I think the president is probably going to focus, one issue I think we're going to be hearing about is tax reform, and making sure that, for instance, people who make millions of dollars a year off of interest income through investments or whatnot don't pay a significantly lower rate of tax than people who earn salaries. Another thing I think that we might see in a second term is pushing comprehensive immigration reform. I think this is something that the Obama administration would really like to accomplish as sort of a long-term legislative goal to reform the immigration system in America, which is pretty badly broken.